Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. I put everything in the suitcases and put them in the back of the van. I was all set to go to the north. I was on vacation and I was going to stay for 2 weeks in a remote cabin in the north of Michigan. I saw the ad in the paper months ago. Cabin for rent in northern Michigan. Secluded, quiet area, 2 bedrooms, kitchen with gas stove, oven, and fireplace. I jumped on it. It would be the perfect place to be alone for 2 weeks and dress up all the time. I sent in my money and made a reservation, so now the place is all mine for 2 weeks. I had everything figured out. I would dress up like a Barbie girl and only bring my female clothes. I would have to stay dressed until I got home, which would take the whole trip. When it was getting dark, I looked at myself in the mirror to make sure everything was fine. I thought I'd drive out of the city and most of the way up there dressed up as girly as possible, then change into jeans and a sweatshirt before I had to stop for gas. I looked good. I chose my white cotton miniskirt and a black, tight-knit cotton pullover with long sleeves. My black corset took a few inches off my waist, and the hem of my miniskirt just covered my black stocks. I wore my white 4-inch stiletto heels. I took a few steps back and then took big steps toward the mirror. With my bright red lips, pink cheeks, red, blue, and silver eyeshadow, and shoulder-length wavy frosted blonde wig, I looked very good. I was all set. I went through the house one last time before going into the garage and getting into the van. The coolness of the night crept through my legs. I don't think I'll ever get tired of that feeling. I hit the button on the remote to open the garage door, backed out, and headed down the road. I put on a great kind of cute cross-dressing story, and here we go. I was drinking some water. My red lipstick left red marks on bottle. I like when my lipstick is easy to take off and shows where I've been. I was doing well and enjoying the ride until I got on I-75, where I got stuck in a parking lot. The cars were moving as slowly as a snail. For the first hour, it was fine. The second... I had to go to the bathroom, though. All that water was getting to me, and I hadn't gone to the bathroom before leaving. Still going slowly, the cars were getting very uncomfortable. I saw the sign for a rest stop and pulled in. It was pretty crowded, and I didn't want to show off my outfit in front of everyone, so I pulled into the parking lot and parked between a big RV and a Jeep Grand Cherokee in the dark. It was nice, dark and quiet when I got out of the van. I waited a bit and saw most people leaving. I slowly walked towards the bathroom, and there only was a single person left who wasn't looking at my direction. I was almost finished when I heard a guy coughing. I stopped going to the bathroom because my heart was racing and I realized I wasn't breathing. I quickly walked away without even looking at the person, just keeping my head down. As I turned, opened the door, and got into my van, my heart was racing. I messed around with the keys in the ignition for what seemed like a long time before I could get the van to start and drive away. Even as I tried to calm down, I was still shaking. I was stuck in traffic for a few minutes before really thinking about what just happened. It was so scary, but at the same time it felt somewhat excited as I thought about what had happened. Had he seen me? Had he seen me? Is that what made me so happy? What a holiday. I was now out of the city and suburbs, and the scenery was starting to change. I thought it was time to change into something a little more sensible. At the next rest stop, I got off of I-75 and changed into jeans in the back of the van. This rest stop wasn't as busy, but there were still a lot of cars and trucks there. I sat down for a while and ate before getting back on I-75 and heading back to where I needed to go. I was following the directions I was given, and I was surprised that there was still a lot of traffic. I thought I would be the only one on the road by now. I'd never been to the north before, so I had no idea what to expect. A lot of cars and RVs were still in front of and behind me. With every turn I made, there were fewer and fewer cars on the road. By the time I got to the last road on the directions, there was no one in front of me and nothing but creepy darkness. I slowly moved along the dirt road. My lights didn't light up much, except right in front of the van, and on either side of me there was only darkness. The only light I could see was from my van's headlights, which were dim and far away. I pulled into the cabin's long driveway. I finally understood it. It was just right. It had a porch with a rail that went along the front and sides of the cabin. On the porch to the right of the door, there was a small table with 2 chairs and some kind of rack that went from the floor to the ceiling. I got out of the van, grabbed my purse and my small suitcase, and walked up to the door. I liked the sound of my heels hitting the hardwood steps and floor. Even though it was very quiet, the sound seemed to be very loud. I saw the key to the lock hanging from the handle of this front door. I used the combination the owner gave me to open the lock, which showed me a set of keys. I grabbed the keys and took the lock off the doorknob. The door wouldn't open with the first key I tried, but the second one did. When I walked in, it was so dark that I had to dig through my luggage bag to find my flashlight. When I turned it on, I quickly looked around the room and saw the lamps and some matches on a table. I turned the wicks on the kerosene lamps until the room was well lit. There was a full set of written instructions on how to turn on the generator, prime and run the water pump, and do all the other things that needed to be done before I could move in. I saw the large fireplace and the stack of wood next to it. I put in some paper and kindling, made sure the chimney was open, and lit it. After it got going, I added some big logs, and soon I had a good fire going to warm up the place. Then I put the rest of my things inside the cabin. I decided to unpack first. So I went into both bedrooms and saw that they were the same. They were both very manly and empty, with just a simple 4-post iron bed in each. The right room was the one that was closer to the bathroom. After putting my things in the closet and drawers and making the bed, I started doing the things on the list to get the cottage ready. The instructions made it easy, so I was able to finish them quickly. The switch on the wall made the main room of the cabin bright, so I took a look at the decor, or lack thereof. Some of the hunters who had stayed here in the past had their pictures on the wall. Most of them were big, husky men who all looked very rough and manly. I saw a photo of the rack and the front of the cottage. The next picture made me laugh because one of the hunters was pretending to be tied to the rack as the animal and the other 2 were standing on either side of him with their guns. I decided to take a shower, get dressed up, and act like a Barbie girl for my first night in the cottage. The water wasn't even close to being warm. I didn't give the water heater enough time to get hot, and now I'm paying for it. The shower was short. I put on my cute maid outfit and decided to clean up the cabin. I put on black high stocks with back seams, garter belt, white lace frilly pants, and an outfit with 5-inch heels. I looked great. In the main room of the cabin, there were 2 mirrors. One was a full-length mirror and the other was a mounted mirror. It was perfect that the full-length mirror stood on its own with wooden legs and could be tilted. I did some modeling practice for a while and then I started cleaning. Every time I put on the maid's outfit, I spend a lot of time cleaning and polishing the place. And after some time, I decided to give up, have a glass of wine, and go outside to watch the sun come up. I took a quilt with me because it was cold and damp outside. I sat in the chair and drank my wine as I watched the darkness grow. I didn't have to wait long. As the darkness faded, the fog that was close to the ground started to become visible. The dawn was beautiful. I drank all of my wine and then went inside to get some much-needed rest. I grabbed my glass, wrapped the quilt around me, and went to open the door. Locked. I must have locked the door after coming in because I couldn't get back out. Great! Out in the middle of nowhere, dressed as a maid in the forest, while it was very cold. I was getting scared and excited at the same time. It didn't look like I had many choices. Either I'd have to walk for hours and hours to find help in 5-inch heels and a thin maid's outfit. No way. Or smash. I broke a window. I knew this would cost me, but I thought it would be easier to make up a story about the broken window than to explain why I was wearing what I was wearing. I went inside and started looking for something to put in front of the broken window. I could only find a few pieces of cardboard and some tape. After putting it up, I was soon ready to go to sleep. Just going to see how to fix this tomorrow. I was so tired that I curled up on the bed, pulled the quilt over my head, and went to sleep right away. I heard a noise that woke me up, and when I opened my eyes, I saw 2 men standing next to my bed. I couldn't think of anything to say or do. I didn't move and just looked at them while they smiled and laughed. Then one of them spoke. "Hello," he said. We were driving up to see if anyone was staying in this cottage since we usually stay here during hunting season. We were almost ready to leave when we saw the van here, but decided to take a look in the window. We saw some high heels inside, and since the window was broken, we thought someone might need help, he said. I was caught when another voice from the front room said, "Hey, Frank, there are guys' things in the girl's purse." I felt afraid. I felt bad about myself. One of the guys took the quilt from me and pulled it off. Both of them started to laugh and guffaw. "What the hell is this? Hey, Lou, come here, you have to see this." The guy from the front room came in, and I was still frozen with fear. "Get up, little sister. We want to see you," said the guy named Frank as he pulled me out of bed. I stood in front of them, not knowing what would happen next. Thanks for watching. The rest is only available on Patreon. Be sure to check it out. If not, hope you enjoyed.